What's up, everyone? Is this what it is? And I'm your host, Gunvid. Good morning. You know, another day, another dollar. Another dollar. But anyway, let me talk about some shit real quick. So this episode is kind of going to be like in reverse order as far as the topics of what I'm going to talk about. So, yesterday I kind of like, I apologized for making fun of Charlie Kirk of his death and all that, you know, because it's kind of immature, you know, to be making fun of death and dead people. And I think ultimately, I think God doesn't want us to like mock or make fun of dead people, because it's ultimately God's decision to judge dead people and all of us who are living and are going to be dead. So, you know, that's kind of like why I apologized. And I don't gotta explain it. I'm just saying, like, because, you know, it's like fucking, I got so much to say. It's like, there's just so much fucking going on in the world right now. So, like, you know, for that reason, like, it's like, it's God's job to judge all of us. So, you know, when someone dies, it's like everyone wants to judge them. Oh, were they a good person? Were they a bad person? And everyone wants to, you know, talk about everything they did wrong in his life. So I wanted to start off the episode, and I was going to be like, oh, yeah, I take back my apology, because Charlie Kirk, you know, morally, he was a bad person as far as his morals and the things he said to people and about people. Because, look, right, they asked Charlie Kirk, I think it was a lady, she asked him, what do you think about when, like, say a guy and a girl hook up after, like, you know, meeting at a bar or something, and then they're back at either like the girl's house or the guy's house or a hotel or whatever, and they're having sex, and then the woman removes consent, which means like she doesn't want to have sex anymore. And then Charlie Kirk was like, oh yeah, I think that's like a murky waters. I think it's like a gray area. And he was basically saying like how women shouldn't be able to remove consent after they've given consent. And he's basically saying like, okay, like, you know, he's basically saying that they fucking, like, you know, that a woman should just, once she gives consent, even if she doesn't want to have sex anymore, that she should continue to, like, have sex all night, and, like, you know, and that basically, like, that a guy shouldn't get in trouble for rape because the woman gave him prior consent, and then she shouldn't be able to take it away. Like, what the fuck is that, bro? You have daughters, or at least you have like one daughter that I've heard of, and you're saying something like that? So you're saying that if your daughter gave consent to a guy, and then, like, you know, what if she sobers up and then, like, that guy's not as good looking to her anymore? It's like, what the fuck is that, bro? How do you have daughters and you're saying something like that? And, you know, right now, I'm not talking shit about Charlie Kirk. I'm really, like, talking shit about the mentality that he had and, like, the, you know, the ideology behind that. And then there was, like, he was talking to a Spanish guy, and he was saying that people from, like, Mexico and Guatemala and all these Latin American countries, that they should be deported if they're illegal immigrants. And even he was kind of like saying even if they weren't illegal, they should all be deported. And that fucking... And then he asked the guy who he was talking to, the Spanish guy that he was talking to, if he was born in this country. And then the Spanish guy said, yeah. And then Charlie Kirk was like, yeah, well, I think, birthright citizenship should be taken away. So it's like, even if you're born in this country, you should be deported. And it's like, what the fuck is that? Most of this country used to be Mexico. If not most of it, a great part of it, like California and Texas and a lot of that area. And then, other parts of this country were Native Americans. And they weren't even called Americans. That's such a bullshit term, Native American. Native American means the people that were in the place that inhabited the place called America before the Italians and white Europeans came and took over. Because if you think about the word America, America was named after Americo Vespucci, which is an Italian man. So it's like Charlie Kirk, you're not even from Italy, as far as I know. So if you want to take away birthright citizenship and all this shit, then you yourself would have to be deported to whatever European country that you fucking originated from, because you're clearly not from this country originally, because you don't even look like anything like the natives, the real natives, the Cherokees or whatever they were called. No offense to them. So it's like, bro, get the fuck out of here with that shit. And then at this point, it's become very clear that Charlie Kirk was assassinated by Israel, because if you look at the history before Charlie Kirk started questioning Israel, and he basically... So apparently on September 7th, Israel started killing their own people because people were starting to go against Netanyahu and his corruption, and Netanyahu was trying to take power away from the judicial system, and he was like, basically trying to make it a dictatorship and give himself all the power, which is what dictators do. So, Charlie Kirk started questioning that, and Charlie Kirk was pro-Israel because he was one of these blind Americans who just blindly support Americans' allies. And then once he started seeing the facts of how Israel killed their own people, then he started getting scared, because he started realizing that Israel doesn't give a fuck about him or Trump or Americans. And then he started to connect the dots. He started to go, oh shit, Israel just did a mass killing of their own people because they were going against Netanyahu. So he started to connect the dots and he started to go, oh, if they're going to kill their own people, they would kill me. And that's what they did. So he started to publicly question that. And then not too long before his death, Netanyahu himself tried to offer Charlie Kirk a bunch of money to infiltrate his platform that he had. And Charlie Kirk said no, because he started to realize that, oh yeah, Israel's, not only are they committing genocide against Palestinians, they're genociding their own people that go against Netanyahu's ideologies, So they killed them in public in front of everyone. And then now you're starting to see people comparing the FBI photos. They started comparing that to the alleged suspect that they got. And it's not matching up, And then they're starting to say that the shooter had a transgender partner. And now they're going to say that was his motive, to fit the right-wing agenda. When we know that the alleged suspect, that's not who fucking did that shit, bro. he wasn't a trained sniper, and even a trained sniper can, miss the target that they should be going for if they want to do an assassination. They can make it look like it wasn't a trained assassin. So they said Charlie Kirk, he started flying too close to the sun, which means like he started to expose Israel's corruption, and even America's corruption, because Trump has been forced, and even Charlie Kirk started to question this publicly. Trump is being forced by Israel to go along with their genocide and bullshit because they threatened Trump's life. Because think about it, that assassination attempt on Trump's life when he was running for president, that was done by Israel, clearly. Because think about it, they had the CIA and FBI protecting Trump as a presidential candidate. And so they had CIA members on rooftops surveying the area. So whoever was on that roof, first of all, there should have been an FBI or CIA agent on every single roof in the area. And so the fact that they allowed someone to get on a roof pretty much directly across from Trump, like they did Charlie Kirk, they allowed that person to get a shot off before they killed him. Allegedly, they killed the person. I don't even think they really killed the person that tried to kill Trump. And they probably purposely shot Trump in the ear to send him a message that Israel was going to kill him if he didn't go along with their bullshit and wear a yarmulke and kiss the wall in Israel or wherever that thing is. And if you watch that video of Trump kissing the wall and like throwing the piece of paper in that whatever thing that was, you see that video, you could see someone clearly acting like a thug telling Trump what to do. You can see a Jewish person telling Trump what to do. And if Trump is a Christian or Catholic, like he claims to be, if he believes in Jesus, why would he put on a yarmulke and follow the Jewish, way of worship or of whatever he was doing in that moment? Why would he do that? It's because he's been forced to do that. And so, if you're going to expose Israel's bullshit, just know they might kill you. And I'm brave enough to use my platform, even though I got 8 subscribers, however many subscribers I have. If even one person sees this video and is awoken, that's good enough for me. I'm gonna put my life at risk because it's worth it to stand up against genocide, to stand up against rapists that Israel are, to stand up against that. It's worth my life. And so I hope we can get past racism in this country. I've admitted I've been affected by racism in the past, and I've even angrily said some racist things in the past. Not on social media. I haven't spread hate and things like that. I believe we've all been affected by racism, whether you want to admit it or not. But in my heart, I'm not racist. And in my heart, I'm for peace and I'm for goodness in the world. If you are a dictator or a fake president or prime minister, now is your chance to confess what you have done and give power to a good person in the government, because there are good people in governments, and in the past there have been great presidents and kings and prime ministers who were good people and did good for their countries, and that's why they get celebrated to this day, and people cry for them, and they still appreciate the good things that they've done. So if you are a president, a king, or a prime minister, now is your chance to either confess what you have done, give up your power to someone who is good, or else, like they did with Hitler and many other bad people before, you will be killed. I know Hitler killed himself, or that's what the story is, but like if you look at what happened to the Nazis when they were defeated, the American soldiers and other soldiers that freed the Jewish people, they allowed those same Jewish people to kill and pretty much torture the Nazis that did the same thing to them. They allowed the Jewish people to get their revenge. So that's what's going to happen to you most likely. And I'm not threatening violence. I'm a peaceful person. I'm not going to kill anyone in the future. I don't plan on killing anyone. And I don't plan on killing anyone. And I won't kill anyone unless it's in self-defense within the law if someone's trying to kill me. And I'm not planning to do that. I plan to live peacefully and live a good life from now till my death. So now is the time to do good in the world. Now is your chance. Okay? You've been warned. Okay? It's now the choice is yours. And also with DJ Khaled, a lot of people give him shit for not saying free Palestine, but he might have been threatened. Who knows? Maybe a Jewish person. I'm not trying to vilify Jewish people, because I know for a fact there's good Jewish people in the world. And rest in peace to my friend Dan. He was in auto class with me. We learned how to fix cars. We took automotive class. And he was a good friend of mine. He'd never been racist to me. He did make a joke, but like it was so funny that even I laughed. But ultimately, I knew that my brother Dan, I knew that he was a good person, and that he wasn't an anti-Semite. He wasn't racist. And so I have, I can say I've had a Jewish friend, and I can say not all Jewish people are bad. And shout out to the Jewish people that are standing up against the genocide of Palestinians, because I saw a video of a Jewish man saying that Israelis and Palestinians, they used to be friends. There were Israeli and Palestinian women that would breastfeed each other's babies. And so they used to be friends. And the devil, ultimately, is the devil working against all of us to start these wars, and genocide. And ultimately, we got to stand up, no matter what religion you are. We all have to stand up against the devil, okay? So I don't know if DJ Khaled has been threatened. Maybe they said that they're going to rape his family and kill them and torture them if he says free Palestine publicly, because he has such a big platform. So ultimately, I'm not going to talk shit about, I take back the shit that I talked about DJ Khaled, because it's clear that he stands up for peace, and he said that he's for peace, and he's made that clear. And so he's pretty much indirectly said that he wants, that he's against the genocide of Palestinians, and that he's been threatened. He's pretty much indirectly said that by saying he's for peace. And so the one thing I will say bad about DJ Khaled is that he's still friends with Rick Ross after he said he'd put, after he said he put Molly in a girl's champagne and took her home and enjoyed that in a song. The fact that DJ Khaled and other rappers could still be cool with Rick Ross after he said that, and after it's been exposed that he was a correctional officer and that he's still acting like he's a gangster, even though you can't be a gangster and be a fucking officer at the same time. It doesn't fucking work. That's just what it is. And then Rick Ross started all this fucking drama with 50 Cent because 50 Cent didn't say what's up to him at an award show or whatever. And then, he started all this drama. He got his friend Gunplay beat up just because someone didn't say what's up to him. You're a fucking cornball, Rick Ross. Get the fuck out of hip-hop. Get the fuck out of the fucking social media. Fuck you. Because you're a fucking rapist. And so even DJ Khaled, he might have been even forced to be cool with him because he doesn't want to have problems with Rick Ross and the people who are cool with Rick Ross that are actually tough, that just like his music, who blindly support him. DJ Khaled, he probably just didn't want to, go through that drama because he lives in Florida and all that. So he might have been like indirectly forced to be cool with him. So I will give him a pass on that. But I won't give Rick Ross a pass on the fucking lame shit he's said and done in his life. So, I pretty much said everything that I wanted to say in this episode. And, I was going to save it for the next episode, but I was thinking about it, and actually, now that I've saw the highlights of Mayweather against Canelo, now that I'm thinking about it, I think Terence Crawford his win was actually more impressive than Mayweather's, because Mayweather, he didn't throw as much combination punches. Like Crawford, he was hitting him with 5-6 punch combinations, and he actually almost like knocked him out or TKO'd him in that fight, because you could see Canelo was kind of buzzed from some of the punches Crawford hit him with. And ultimately, I think Crawford's career is more impressive because, although Mayweather fought more champions and technically the fighters he fought, their resume was better, I think some of the fighters, even though they were champions, I think they were kind of like out of their prime when Mayweather beat them. And I think Canelo, I think he still is in his prime. I said he was like more towards the end in the past episode, but like I think Canelo's still in his prime, and I think he was closer to the height of his prime when he fought Crawford as opposed to Mayweather. Because if you remember, Canelo was really young when he fought Mayweather, and I don't think he was really even in his prime yet. And if you look at Mayweather's career, he was more exciting of a fighter before he hurt his hands, and so he had to throw more like 1-2s and move around as much because he couldn't stand toe-to-toe and trade punches as much because his hands hurt. And if you know about fighting, when your hand gets hurt, you can't throw as many combinations, and you can't stand toe-to-toe as much and fight as, give the fans as good of a fight. So I think, and Mayweather did a lot of like fuck shit behind the scenes to make things go in his favor, like hydration clauses and fucking, like this and that, and like he did a lot of shit behind the scenes. Like he fought in Las Vegas for the majority of his career because they allowed him to inject steroids in his hands that he wouldn't have been allowed to in many other places. So, like, Crawford was more durable. Like, his hands were more durable. And so he was able to fight more exciting fights and actually literally fight more and stand toe-to-toe and throw more combination punches. So I think, in my opinion, last night, Terence Crawford surpassed Mayweather's greatness because of the things that I mentioned, and because he was more durable, because he didn't inject steroids in his hands. Like, Crawford's hands probably hurt too, but he's just more durable that his hands didn't get broken. And, he fought at a higher weight than Mayweather, and I think technically he's a better fighter. And I think, now that I'm thinking about it, I thought about it a lot. I think prime, and both of them in their prime, I think Crawford would beat Canelo, because I heard that Errol Spence pretty much beat Mayweather in a sparring match. I know technically that's not a fight, but it is a fight. Like, you know, if you've ever sparred in a boxing gym, you know that shit is pretty much a real fight without it being sanctioned and in front of fans. So I heard Errol Spence, he put hands on Mayweather, and I don't care if Mayweather just got out of jail and he was out of shape. I don't care. The fact remains that Errol Spence, he put hands on you, and he won that encounter. And everyone saw what Crawford did to Spence. I mean, Errol Spence, he hasn't even fought since that fight. You know? And people could blame the car accident, but nah. I think Terrence Crawford did more damage to Spence than that car accident did. So I know boxing math doesn't always add up, but if you look at common opponents, Spence beat up Mayweather and Crawford beat the shit out of Spence. With all due respect to Spence, because I'm a fan of Spence. He's a great fighter, and one loss doesn't take away from his career. But even if Crawford loses in the future, I'm still putting Terrence Crawford above Mayweather in my all-time great fighters now because of what he showed in his career. So shout out to Crawford, and hey, he deserves all the credit for his wins, because what he's done so far is real impressive. So, you know what I'm saying? If you appreciated this episode, hit that like button, comment, share, and subscribe. This is what it is. And I'm your host, Gunvid.